Good evening, everyone. I know it's been a big day, a lot of great and very meaty and significant conversations, but I'm warning you, settle in, get comfortable, get your translators out, because I got a lot to say tonight. Je veux commencer, évidemment, par remercier l'Eurasia Group et BMO, groupe financier, de m'avoir invité et d'avoir organisé la conversation d'un peu plus tôt avec le ministre Champagne et le sénateur Coons. Je tiens aussi à remercier les gens présents ce soir. Vous êtes ici pour discuter des grandes questions qui touchent le Canada et les États-Unis en tant que partenaires commerciaux et alliés les plus proches du monde. C'est important d'avoir ces conversations à un moment aussi décisif de notre histoire. With global inflation exacerbated by Russia's illegal war, people in developed economies are struggling to make ends meet. People in the global south are facing food shortages. People are suffering everywhere from the impacts of climate change. And in Ukraine, people are losing their lives in the fight for their freedoms and for ours. Our relationship with the United States has always been important. But today, in the face of such uncertainty, it's absolutely vital. And President Biden made clear the depth and strength of this relationship when he addressed the House of Commons just the other day. He said, "The United States chooses to link our future with Canada because we know that we'll find no better partner. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. No more reliable ally, no more steady friend. Together, we have built a partnership that is an incredible advantage to both our nations." See, over the last 2 centuries, we've built a robust and integrated economy with reliable supply chains that have supported manufacturing jobs, resource jobs, transport jobs, jobs in almost every sector of the economy. Le Canada et les États-Unis entretiennent depuis longtemps une relation qui favorise notre prospérité commune. Aujourd'hui, face à l'évolution du contexte mondial, on doit réfléchir à la suite des choses. La pandémie et l'invasion illégale de l'Ukraine par la Russie ont exposé des vulnérabilités importantes dans les chaînes d'approvisionnement mondiales. Il y a de l'inquiétude par rapport à nos vulnérabilités économiques en ce qui concerne la dépendance à l'égard d'États autoritaires. Tout ce que le Canada et les États-Unis ont accompli jusqu'à présent, c'est la base sur laquelle on va bâtir l'économie forte, prospère, équitable et durable du 21e siècle. The budget we released last week was all about meeting this moment. It's a made-in-Canada plan to invest in people today in making life affordable in healthcare and dental care, and to create great jobs and prosperity for the decades to come. It hones in on 2 key issues that lie ahead. The first is seizing the opportunities of the clean economy. Major economies are moving towards net zero at an unprecedented pace. They are retooling, reskilling workers, and taking real action to fight climate change. Pendant trop longtemps, les gens ont cru que la protection de l'environnement nuisait à la croissance économique. Mais le monde s'est réveillé. Il y a des milliers de milliards de dollars en capital privé prêts à être investis dans une économie mondiale propre. C'est quelque chose que notre gouvernement avait déjà compris en 2015. On a mis un prix sur la pollution, ce qui pousse le marché à trouver des solutions. On a investi dans l'efficacité énergétique, des technologies propres et la décarbonisation de l'industrie. A healthy environment is absolutely imperative if we want to continue to generate the kind of prosperity that has made Canada strong for the last 155 years, and it's where private capital is going. Canada needs innovative financing to crowd in this capital. And that's where our new Canada Growth Fund comes in. This $15 billion arm's-length public investment vehicle will be delivered by the Public Sector Pension Investment Board, who will make independent investment decisions. The Growth Fund will help clean tech companies scale up, provide project financing for the adoption of new technologies, and use investment instruments like contracts for difference that make carbon pricing even more predictable. This is something industry has been asking for, and this will help de-risk long-term projects and provide more certainty as businesses make investments to reduce their emissions and stay competitive. The Canada Growth Fund will attract private investment in projects that capitalize on our potential. The U.S.'s Inflation Reduction Act is a historic investment in fighting climate change on a scale heretofore unseen. It's motivating clean investment across the globe, which is especially important as countries look to move away from fossil fuels produced by countries like Russia. And this brings us to the second key issue this year's budget takes on. Global economies are seeking stable trading partners and reliable supply chains in the face of geopolitical uncertainty. On doit tous reconnaître que les politiques économiques sont aussi des politiques de sécurité, qui sont aussi des politiques climatiques. Notre gouvernement s'assure que le Canada soit très bien placé pour être le fournisseur d'énergie fiable dont le monde carboneutre aura besoin. On investit dans l'hydrogène propre, la biomasse et les biocarburants. Et on vient de proposer un crédit d'impôt à l'investissement dans l'électricité propre. La mesure va agir comme un incitatif fiscal remboursable de 15% pour les investissements dans l'énergie solaire, marémotrice, nucléaire et hydroélectrique, dans les projets de stockage de l'électricité et bien d'autres. L'électricité produite au Canada est déjà parmi les plus propres au monde. Le crédit d'impôt va permettre d'accélérer nos efforts pour mettre en place un réseau entièrement carboneutre d'ici 2035. 25, j'ambitionnais un petit peu. Ça veut dire que nos maisons, nos bureaux et nos usines vont être alimentés par de l'énergie sans émission. Le crédit va aussi permettre au Canada d'être compétitif dans un monde carboneutre où l'électricité sans émission va être un gros avantage économique. New investments to build clean industry do so on a foundation of proven, effective policies like the price on pollution. And they are supplemented by the work of the Canada Infrastructure Bank as well as by targeted grants where needed. We're also introducing a 30% refundable tax credit for clean tech manufacturing. This could help projects that help extract and refine critical minerals, build a solar panel factory, or help a company retool a plant to manufacture clean tech. Tax credits like these are hat tricks. They cut pollution here at home, they boost production of clean exports that the world is looking for, and they support the jobs that grow the middle class and, by extension, our economy. Jobs in the clean economy are what this is all about. Let me give you a real-world example from just west of here, on the shores of Lake Ontario. I want you to think of the Dofasco plant in Hamilton. Those of you from around here have probably driven by it on the QEW more times than you can count. For generations, there has been a proud blue-collar tradition of steelmaking in Hamilton. The steel forged at Dofasco has been used to construct bridges, buildings, cars, and more. Well, our government saw the future coming and realize that the existing and heavy-emitting coal-fired technology could put the jobs and the legacy of Canadian steelmaking at risk. So 2 years ago, we launched the Net Zero Accelerator to help industries like steel decarbonize and make investments at the scale needed. In July 2021, we partnered with the parent company ArcelorMittal to invest in new electric arc technology. This means that not only will Canada produce some of the cleanest steel in the world in the coming years, but our second and third generation steel workers in Hamilton will know that their children and grandchildren will be fifth, sixth, and seventh generations of good middle-class jobs at Dofasco if they choose. And that's what it's all about. A good job, where people can do a good day's work, support their families, and take pride in what they do. It's why we fought to make sure that the Inflation Reduction Act included a carve-in for Canada that protected the integrated supply chains for electric vehicles. Because again, back when we were designing our climate plan, we saw which direction the automotive industry was going. We set zero-emission vehicle sales targets. We created purchase incentives for Canadians. We started building a charging network from coast to coast to coast. And now, we're securing manufacturing capacity, from mining critical minerals, to battery manufacturing, to vehicle assembly, to the specialized tires that electric vehicles roll on, made at the Bridgewater plant that Michelin has had for 50 years in Nova Scotia. We've been making sure Canadian workers and Canadian industry stay competitive, that Canada remains an attractive place to do business. And that's what our Made in Canada plan is all about. And let me tell you, the momentum is pretty darn good. In the past year, Honda, General Motors, and Stellantis have made major investments to upgrade and retool their assembly plants so that they can manufacture hybrid and electric vehicles. We've seen major investments in battery manufacturing, from Umicore to BASF, and most recently, to an announcement that Volkswagen has chosen Canada for its very first overseas electric vehicle battery gigafactory. Yeah. François Philippe's a big fan of that one. You worked very hard on that. This new Volkswagen factory is a major win for Canada and a vote of confidence in Canadian competitiveness. Our government worked hard to get this deal, but ultimately, it was the reputation and strength of Canadian workers that sealed it. In all my conversations around the world, in pitching Canada, in telling people to come invest in Canada, the greatest competitive advantage we have is always our workers. Hardworking, innovating, showing up for work, steady, well-educated, with health care, with strong communities, with great quality of life, a growing population. These are the things that draw people in. I remember last year I was at a Nokia announcement in Canada, a suburb of Ottawa. Nokia decided to make Canada one of their only 5 research and development hubs in the world. And it wasn't because we offered them $45 million, although we did, and they took it. It was because the researchers, the engineers, the workers, the quality that we would be delivering here was reliable. In my conversations with automakers, with global investors looking at battery plants and supply chains, is the reliability and the strength of Canadian workers that pull them in, that push them over the top. That's why these deals are so important, as they bring in billions of dollars in foreign direct investment, and they mean thousands of good jobs in communities across the country, not just for right now, but jobs that people can see will last for decades for their communities. La réalité c'est que l'avantage concurrentiel du Canada est unique. Notre pays a des minéraux critiques qui vont alimenter l'économie mondiale tout au long de la transition vers la carboneutralité d'ici 2050 et pendant bien des années encore par la suite. Dans notre budget, on s'engage à accélérer la procédure d'approbation des grands projets qui vont nous permettre de répondre à ces besoins, en s'assurant de respecter nos mesures de protection environnementale et de collaborer avec les peuples autochtones. On a les minéraux nécessaires à la fabrication de véhicules électriques, d'éoliennes, de batteries, de panneaux solaires et de nombreuses autres technologies essentielles à l'avenir énergétique propre. But we're also looking outward to opportunities and strategic considerations beyond our borders. As one of the very few countries with the full suite of critical minerals needed to build the batteries of the future, we're working with our friends and allies to build stable and reliable supply chains. This helps address strategic vulnerabilities and brings the world along in the clean energy transition. We're also taking action to strengthen our continental semiconductor ecosystem and reduce reliance on countries like China. When President Biden was in town, we announced an agreement with IBM to expand domestic semiconductor research and development and packaging, including in Bromont, Quebec. This will create good jobs in Canada, boost competitiveness, and protect our economic and national security. Because in the 21st century, security policy is climate policy, is economic policy. But I want to make clear, our budget is not a defensive economic posture. C'est une possibilité incroyable. Le président Biden lui-même dit qu'on est dans un point tournant de l'histoire, où les décisions qu'on va prendre dans les années à venir vont déterminer le cours de notre monde pour les décennies à venir. C'est le genre de moment historique qui arrive seulement à toutes les 5 ou 6 générations. C'est un moment sérieux et on doit en être à la hauteur. C'est l'occasion pour le Canada et les États-Unis de montrer la voie non seulement en tant que gouvernement, mais aussi par l'intermédiaire de leur secteur privé. Comme l'a dit le président Biden, on est à la tête de la région économique la plus compétitive, la plus prospère et la plus résiliente du monde. On est prêt à saisir l'occasion qui s'offre à nous et à faire face à toutes les éventualités. The strategic clean economy investments we've been making since 2015 are about growing the economic pie for everyone and securing new investment opportunities for a lot of you here on Bay Street. But fundamentally, it's about people. It's about great jobs. Great jobs for resource workers, mining the critical minerals that the world needs. For construction workers and tradespeople using innovative new low-carbon building materials. For engineers designing hydrogen plants and fuel cells. For farmers and foresters who are making next-generation biofuels. For back office and support staff at thousands of growing companies. And of course, for the small business entrepreneurs dreaming up solutions to the new challenges of the 21st century. Real wealth isn't made on the trading floor. It's created in factories, in fields, in labs, in mines. La vraie richesse est créée par les ouvriers des chaînes de montage et les agriculteurs, par nos chercheurs qui font de nouvelles découvertes, par nos innovateurs qui réfléchissent à des solutions audacieuses et créatives, par les entrepreneurs qui ont de grandes idées et une ambition sans limite. La vraie richesse est créée par les gens. People are the engine of our economy. We can never forget that. And I proffer this warning because there was a time, not too long ago, when the establishment seemed to lose sight of that. there was a pretty unchallenged belief that the ideologies of deregulation and unencumbered globalization would create wealth for all. But the rising tide didn't lift all boats. Not everyone benefited. Corporations did extremely well. The jobs for the middle class went overseas and weren't replaced. Then 2008 happened. In the US, banks got bailouts, but the middle class got foreclosures on their home. And meanwhile, there were a lot of conservative governments and political leaders who looked to austerity. And then, as GDP started to grow again, wages didn't. The 1% did better and better, and a lot of hardworking people got left behind. Inequality was taking hold. The middle class was getting hollowed out. People got disillusioned and frustrated with the establishment. A lot of them still are. And this matters because some of the same political forces that let that happen are now seeking to take advantage of people's economic pain. They're turning people towards anger, populism, isolationism, and protectionism. They're sharing conspiracy theories. They're sowing distrust in institutions. They offer no solutions, no alternatives. But they do effectively amplify the very real anxiety that people are feeling. It's a dangerous approach that will impact not just you in this room, but people in communities big and small, right across this continent. In 2015, when we came to office, our government saw these issues. And we decided to take a different approach. One that has been centered on investing in people, in the middle class, and in people working hard to join it. One that was about creating a future where people could see opportunities for themselves, their kids, and their communities. We understood that a strong middle class made the whole economy stronger. We not only had a plan to make sure more people get their fair share of the economic pie, we created the plan to grow a bigger pie. We increased immigration levels and are attracting talent from all over the world, which is helping staff our growing companies and adding more workers and businesses to our communities. We've enhanced support for low-income workers so that they stay in the workforce and build careers that help them join the middle class. We're supporting parents with affordable childcare, students with increased loans and the elimination of interest on student loans, and investing in the publicly funded universal healthcare system that Canadians are rightfully proud of. And our resilient, well-educated, healthy, and well-supported workers are one of the key reasons that so many global companies want to set up shop here in Canada. Because people are what drive the economy. Profits only come when people are doing well. Like I said, we started building this clean economy 7 years ago so we could be leaders and early adopters in clean tech and clean innovations. And today's DeFasco workers have a secure future because of it. And so will the next generation of Canadian workers in sectors right across the economy. And so many of you in the private sector have been essential partners in what we're building. And what we're building is an economy that works for all Canadians. And the results are bearing out. Since 2015, 2.7 million Canadians have been lifted out of poverty, 500,000 of them kids. Income inequality has declined by 11%. The gender wage gap is narrowing. We announced $10 a day childcare 2 years ago, a milestone that's already been reached in 6 provinces and territories with significant reductions in fees everywhere else, which means women's participation in the economy has reached an all-time high, and our economy is projected to grow by 1.2% because of it. Our broad-based support to the economy during the pandemic recession enabled a robust recovery that led Canada to have one of the strongest job recoveries in the world. Wages are going up. Last year, we had the strongest economic growth in the G7. And we have the lowest deficit and debt-to-GDP ratio in the G7. Comme je l'ai dit, on cherche à agrandir la taille de l'économie. Et on veut s'assurer qu'un plus grand nombre de personnes aient leur juste part, parce que c'est bon pour tout le monde. On sait aussi qu'un commerce libre et équitable est essentiel pour y arriver. On s'est donc assuré que nos accords commerciaux comprennent de meilleures mesures de protection de l'environnement et des travailleurs. C'est exactement ce qu'on a fait quand on a renégocié et amélioré l'ALENA. On s'est concentré sur la croissance de l'économie et on l'a fait de manière à offrir aux citoyens de réelles possibilités, à leur permettre d'avoir davantage de contrôle sur leur vie, sur leur avenir. In these times of anxiety, people are looking for solutions and looking to us all as leaders. Well, to lead is to choose. To govern is to choose. Some politicians have made the choice to exploit fears, to rile people up while offering no real solutions. Our government has made a different choice, and we'll keep making that choice. A choice to dig deeper than simplistic slogans to tackle complex problems. To think bigger than the failed trickle-down economic policies of the past. To be bold in investing in the middle class, in fighting climate change, in building a more equal and just society where we reconcile with Indigenous peoples and where everyone has a real and fair chance at success no matter who you are, where you were born, or where you live. We'll choose the brightest possibilities of the future. We'll choose people every time. Merci beaucoup, mes amis.